I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like I have made this same video every single week. The same talking point, so let's do it again. So I usually start off these videos talking about the positives and we work our way to the negatives, but I don't have a lot to say in the positive category. We're just going to go with the flow. I'm going to talk about it as I want to, all right? And in rough times like this, it does help the channel out a ton. It helps me out a ton if you like and subscribe. Only 34% of you that regularly watch me here on YouTube are subscribed, so if you could, please head down there and hit that button. It helps a ton in desperate times like this. All right, let's start on the defensive side of the ball because I'm going to have to limit myself on how much I talk about this unit, and also it determines the flow of these games. The defense completely controls how we look at these games, just the way that this team's playing football this year. Bo Nix against the Cowboys, he was 19 of 29, 4 touchdowns, had the 1 interception on the first or second throw of the game, finished with an 82.8 QBR and a 117.4 passer rating. Broncos also ran the ball extremely well. J.K. Dobbins averaged 7.4 yards per carry. He had a long of 25, 15, 10, 15, 8 yards, just constantly. He had 15 for 111, and like I said, averaging 7.5. RJ Harvey, who hasn't been great this year, I really liked him coming out of UCF. He had 7 for 46, averaging 6.6 yards per carry. That tells you how the defense was doing, and we're going to get to talking about each individual Cowboys player, but just reading off some stats because these are diabolical. Troy Franklin had a long catch of 26. Cortland Sutton had one for 39 yards. Pat Bryant, who I actually saw at the Senior Bowl, burnt Kaiir Elam for a 24-yard touchdown. This defense, all right, just when I think that it's gotten as bad as it possibly can, or this unit has even turned the corner a little bit. Okay, they played pretty good against the Commanders. I know they were missing their top 3 wide receivers, but they actually stopped, slowed down the Commanders, and played well. Well, that got completely undone. That game doesn't matter anymore because of how bad they played. I cannot tell you a single guy on this Cowboys defense that played good. If you guys can name one, head down to the comments and let me know. There's not a single name that comes to mind when you say, who played good on the defensive side of the ball? Was it Osa Odigizua, the guy you paid $20 million to? I haven't seen Osa all year. I need to look at his sack numbers. He didn't have a quarterback hit. He didn't have a sack. There wasn't a single guy on this defense that had a quarterback hit. Most quarterbacks that play Dallas, their stat line looks just like this. They don't even have to throw the ball 30 times. They can still go off for 250 yards. They'll throw 4 touchdowns and not usually an interception. Bo Nix kind of gave you one. Dallas couldn't take advantage of it on offense. They can't get after the quarterback. They can't cover on the back end, and their linebackers aren't good enough to stop the run. You look at the box score, you don't even have to watch the game. You can get an idea of how this went. Dallas is so bad at all 3 levels. Defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. They can't stop a single soul. The Broncos are not a great offense. They just had to come back against the Giants last week. They didn't score any points in the first 3 quarters, and they had to put up 33 in the 4th to win that game with some help from the Giants. In this one, they moved the ball with ease. Going into halftime, they were averaging a first down per play. Kaiir Elam might be your worst defender. He cannot cover. They went and played man coverage. We get on to Matt Eberflus for playing too much zone, myself included. I 100% agree. But when you call man and your guys are still getting burnt and not communicating somehow in man coverage, guard the guy in front of you in man coverage, like it's not that difficult. Kaiir Elam gives up an easy touchdown to Troy Franklin because he thinks that Elijah Clark, who's working across the field, is just going to automatically switch. I don't really know. It doesn't matter whose fault it is because the guy would have got open anyway. Troy Franklin gets a touchdown, like 8 yards of separation. Insane, right? On a 1st and 20, a 3rd and 20, something and a whole lot to go, and you give up a 25-yard touchdown, a 29-yard touchdown. That is not what happens to an NFL defense. This isn't an NFL defense, and there hasn't been a single bright spot on this unit. Sam Williams. I don't even know what to say about Sam Williams. I tweeted out, and I talked about it in my post-game show with Foots. Sam Williams made a play in this one. He made a tackle for loss, I believe. It counted as a tackle for loss in the box score. So he makes that play, and I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for the flag, unsportsmanlike conduct or face mask or something. I was waiting on it. It didn't happen. Very next play, the Broncos score. What do I see on my TV screen? Sam Williams gets called for a flag, and the Broncos get to go for 2 because he got a personal foul. Like, dude, it's just 1 step forward, 2 steps back for everybody on this unit. There's times where the defensive line is getting reach blocked. Kenneth Murray and Shamar James, maybe not always their fault, but they cannot climb through the clutter and get through the line and make tackles less than 4 to 5 yards down the field. They can't sift through there and make plays because the defensive line isn't playing well. And then on the back end, there's miscommunication, and you don't have enough talent. Like, we talk about Matt Eberflus and his scheme and stuff. I agree. There needs to be some things changed up right there, but I'm not sure that it elevates the unit at all, honestly. Like, your corners, Kaiir Elam and Bridges, they're just not good enough. The Broncos said, we're going to throw it at Bridges, and they did just that. For Kaiir Elam, I mean, you can throw it over there whenever you want. He's probably given up 5 or 6 touchdowns this year, and it's just the explosive plays that kill this unit. They give up everything underneath because they're playing 12 yards off the ball on a 3rd and 10, but they also give everything up in the middle and deep parts of the field. So it's like, can you pick one and, decide what you want to do? Do you want to give up everything in the short parts of the field and then rally to the tackle and do that? Or try to stop everything up front and hope that you don't get beat deep? You can't do both because it looks just like this. And this is the same video that I've been making. I've these same points over and over and over. It's like I'm going crazy. I have like deja vu from making the same video. Offense good or offense okay. Defense so bad. Like, historically bad. Remember how bad we thought Mike Nolan was back in 2020? That was a really bad defense. 2020 Cowboys defense allowed 29.6 points per game. The 2025 Cowboys defense are allowing 31.6. 31.6, where your offense for a stretch an entire month up until this game did not turn the ball over, didn't throw an interception, didn't put the ball on the ground. Javonte Williams didn't fumble, Pickens didn't fumble, Lamb didn't fumble for the past month. Not giving them a short field. Special teams hasn't been great, but they weren't bad. It's not like they're allowing 31 points because they're getting put in bad positions by the offense. That's not the case at all. The opposing team can get trapped inside the 5, and they will have a 6-play, 95-yard drive. And a lot of people are going to say the offense didn't play well either. And I 100% agree. But I also believe that the defense is dictating how these games go. The offensive game plan changes because of what you're doing defensively. It throws everything off. The run game goes out the window because you're chasing 14 to 17 points. Dak starts pressing. Lamb, Pickens starts pressing. Everything that you worked on leading up to the game, you don't think you're going to be behind 14 to 17 points. You're not going to game plan going into a game that we are going to be behind 14 to 17, so this is how we're going to play. You just can't do that. So when they get put in these obvious pass situations and your tackles aren't playing well and Dak can't get the ball out in time, it looks a lot like it did today. They couldn't move the ball. And we're going to talk about Dak a little bit more because I don't know if people are rage baiting me or trying to make me mad. Maybe it's Broncos fans giving us a hard time. Eagles fans have infiltrated my YouTube comment section. But we're going to talk about Dak. 19 of 31, 188 yards. He had 6.1 yards per attempt, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. It was easily his worst game of the season. For running the football, much like the Panthers game, they weren't very good. 13 carries for 41 yards for Javonte Williams, 3.2 yards per carry. He did have 2 touchdowns. His longest run of the day was 9 yards. Dak actually had a couple plays with his legs, but that was mainly because the pocket was breaking down so fast. Guys weren't open on the back end. Although the Broncos didn't have Pat Surtain, and he just had to break and take off. Like, it wasn't like he did a whole lot with his legs, but he did keep some drives alive. And then Pickens and Lamb are doing a lot of what we expected. 7 for 78 for Pickens, 7 for 74 for Lamb. The offense wasn't great, but also, why do they have to be great every week? Why is it a prerequisite that they have to put up 40 points to win? And then guess what? Even when you put up 40 points, you're not guaranteed to win. You're going to tie like you did in the Packers game. I get you're disappointed by the offense. They should be allowed to have one stinker in the past 7 weeks. 2 in the past 7 weeks. Other teams do it. The Eagles, they got by with Jalen Hurts throwing for 101 yards against the Chiefs. They beat the reigning Super Bowl champions with 100 yards from their quarterback. Could you guys imagine what happens if Dak throws for 100 yards against the Chiefs? The score would be 100-0. They would have to call it in the halfway through the third quarter. They'd have to mercy rule it. It'd be the first one to ever happen in an NFL game. The idea that the offense has to be perfect, and they still were pretty good. The Dak interceptions weren't great. He's also pressing because he's trying to make up ground. The defense is going to give up points every single time they're out there on the field. It changes the entire game plan. And here's the thing, right? People in the comments on the live stream here on YouTube are going to say it's Dak's fault. What other quarterback in the NFL is required to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, have a 95 QBR? They gave up 44 points. So Dak has to score 45 points to win. That it literally doesn't make any sense. And it's so much more nuanced than one guy is the problem. Much like on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think it's all Eberflus. It's rotten from the top down. And I'll probably make a video later this week talking about how it's rotten from the top down, what guys really need to go. Like Sam Williams, like Kyer Elam, and Bridges isn't too bad. He'd probably be a good end of the roster guy eventually, but it doesn't make sense for your offense to have to be perfect on every single drive. When you punt the ball back to the other team and it's 30-17, when they punted back, it was 30-17. Very next drive in 5 minutes, Denver goes 12 plays, 84 yards, and it's 37-17. Well, by that point, Dak throws the interception. You're already down 20 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter. You're down 3 drives. Do we think this defense is getting 3 stops for your offense to get the ball back and get 3 drives, or even getting a turnover and a quick score? Do we think they're going to stop them 2 more times? Like, it's just not going to happen, and it sucks that people are blaming the quarterback and getting mad at Dak and saying that you can't win with him this or that. It doesn't make any sense. I looked it up on StatMuse. Dak's record against teams with a winning record is 79-49-1. He can be above 500 teams. You can't beat teams when you have a 0-17 Lions defense. You're not going to beat good teams. That's how the NFL works. That's probably why Dallas is going to finish this season at 500. You're going to have the number 1 offense in the league, or up there, and you're going to have a bottom 3 defense in the league. So you're going to end up 8-1. You're going to beat up on the bad teams, and you're going to lose to semi-good to above average good teams. That's just how it's going to work, because they're so opposite ends of the spectrum. For people to not be fair to the quarterback and the offense and what is expected of them, like, I don't know if these games have warped people's minds of what an NFL game should look like. Maybe you should go watch Monday Night Football, see what that Chiefs defense does to the Commanders, if you think that Dak was the main issue. His second interception, by the way, a quarterback can throw an interception and still win a game, but his second interception came 20 points down. It just irritates me because it makes 0 sense. Dave Hellman had a great thing on this, and I'm going to stop talking about it because I'll sit here and yap about it all night. I'm tired. Dave Hellman said that blaming the quarterback is like blaming your depth finder on a boat when the hull has a 3 to 4 foot gash in it. If people that thought like that were in the front office, this team will never get fixed, because the defense is the obvious issue. We talk about it every single week. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and edit this video, and please like, share, subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye.